and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at the Somers, the new Tier 10 premium destroyer on the US Navy. So, what? I just unlocked the Benham, and people were like, "Oh, did you not see the the Somers and everything?" We'll see. We'll see how these compare, really. But first, let's have a quick chat about the Somers. Now, the Somers, the real Somers, for the little bit of history that I was coming across while I was actually researching what this ship was all about and what she was doing, we have to start with the Graf Spee, the German Tier 6 premium super heavy cruiser, pocket battleship, whatever you want to call it. Why the Graf Spee? Well, because, as many things, it starts with the Germans building these ships. So there was a radio operator on the Graf Spee by accident. He wasn't meant to be there, but, well, they were at sea at the time when they figured that out, and, well, there's no going back, really. So when the Graf Spee was scuttled after having a fierce battle with the British, that radio operator went to land and tried to make his way back to Germany. And he went via Japan, because, well, reasons. And he got eventually onto a German merchant ship that was on the way back to Germany. But said German merchant ship was disguising itself as an American ship. Now, they did come across, you guessed it, the Somers, who was patrolling together with the Omaha. Yep, the American light cruiser. And they looked at the ship. It looked distinctly American, but its shape didn't quite match the recognition drawing. And they went and said, "Look, something's fishy here." They boarded it, and while the Germans surrendered, they realized they were having a German ship, so they took it with them. It's like, "Look, we found one. This is now ours. Plant a flag in it." Obviously, the sailors were interned. The US were not yet at war with Germany at the time, but they considered that everybody on the ship, given that it was a merchant ship, was a civilian. And as such, they were interned together with other German citizens, or people of German descent, probably, in the US, and rather instead of being prisoner of war. But given that the radio operator who had remained was, well, actually part of the German Navy, technically he was the very first prisoner of war. They just didn't realize at the time. Which brings us back to the Somers. I'm going to have to make a whole video about this because that was such an interesting story. But let's get back to the Somers. Now, the Somers obviously needs to be compared, because she's a Tier 10, to things like the Gearing. The Gearing herself being a very late war design, the Somers itself is actually an interwar design. And it shows. So, what's she doing up here in Tier 10? Well, let's go through and have a quick look. She has, if we compare her to the Gearing, around 800 less hit points. Otherwise, she looks extremely similar. She is, if we're doing the exact same way, a similar setup, she is a tick faster than the Gearing, but not by much. Her maneuverability is somewhat comparable. Her turn time on the rudder is a little bit less. The guns is where it becomes interesting. The Somers has 8 guns, which has apparently triggered some people. And it's like, why do we have yet another gunboat destroyer up there on the US Navy line, super overpowered Tier 10? Well, there's a snag. If we look very closely, well, these are the 127mm L38 destroyer guns. You find them everywhere. They're secondaries on all American ships that have secondaries. They're happening on destroyers. But if we're looking at the revision, these are Mark 12s. The Gearing has Mark 38s. So if we're looking back a little bit, we find another ship that has the Mark 12 guns. The Farragut. Yep, these are Tier 6 guns, pretty much. Comparatively, they do a little bit more damage. They obviously have a better range, but they actually have a slower base reload from about 6 seconds compared to the Farragut's 5. This is not a gunboat. She has a lot of guns, which have a singular purpose, in my opinion, but this is not a gunboat. For example, if you compare her to the Gearing with a similar setup has an almost 3-second reload. So she fires 11 or 12 shells at a time when the Sommers can fire 8. She does not have a tier 10 American gunboat layout. Definitely not. Also, the turrets take a while to rotate. There's another snag with these turrets, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's look at the torpedoes first. So she gets not the 4 quad launchers from the Benham, but she gets 3 quad launchers. If we look at these torpedoes, again, a couple of things stand out compared to the Gearing. The Gearing's torpedoes do more damage. The Gearing's torpedoes have better range. The Gearing's torpedoes are faster. And they have a better chance of causing flooding. So these are not tier 10 torpedoes. Well, on paper, they are Mark 17 torpedo launchers, the same as the Gearing has. But again, if we look at the speed, 58.35 knots, there's another ship that has torpedoes with that speed. If we scroll a bit back, that's the Farragut. So, well, obviously the Farragut hasn't quite as powerful torpedoes by a long shot. But these are not your standard American upper tier torpedoes, right? So Gearing's torpedoes definitely more powerful, even though she has two less. And the Benham's torpedoes is still slower and do less damage. But these are it's quantity over quality really here. And the fact that these triple launchers are center mounted. So unlike the Benham, which has the launcher side mounted, so you have to turn the ship around if you want to fire the other set, the Sommers not quite so. So the Sommers has the torpedoes in the center line. Now I said that there was another thing about the guns that was going to become apparent, and that's when we look at the AA. Yeah. Or rather, the absence of it. The Sommers doesn't have any. Again, let's compare that to the Gearing. The Gearing has 131 on the large caliber and 122 on the small caliber AA. And I think she gets the defensive AA skill. If we're checking, yes, she does. And the Sommers has 41 on the small caliber AA, because she, in reality, had a bunch of probably 20mm guns, and that was pretty much it. The main guns, the Mark 12s, are single purpose. They are not dual purpose guns. The Gearing has dual purpose guns. They fire at planes. The Sommers does not. So the Sommers has literally no AA. Now, how much of an impact that makes, I can't really say, because I haven't played the Gearing against carriers or any higher tier American destroyer for that matter. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but with the defensive AA skill up and the correct build, I can imagine that she can do some damage to planes. The Sommers very much not. This is the Nelson of destroyers, the Roma, the Roma of torpedo boats. She has no AA, what to speak of. Concealment-wise, she is pretty much on par with the Gearing. So, how have I built this ship? Well, I've played around. My first thought, like, oh, look, 8 guns, it's a gunboat. Obviously not knowing the Gearing personally, I was playing around a little bit and was surprised that it didn't really work that well as I thought it should. I mean, if we're looking at just tier 10 destroyers, right? Things like the Shima. The Shima has 6 guns with a 5.5 second reload. We have 8 guns with a 5.7 second reload. We barely outgun a Shima in this thing. So, how am I figuring this ship? What is this? I think this is a torpedo boat, and I have had the most success if I'm playing her like that. So the idea here is you use the guns in order at long range to set fires. So an 8.6 kilometer range is not quite Gearing level, but you do not usually want to use the guns in close range fights, and you actually don't want to get into gun duels with other destroyers. That's not what the ship's all about. Now, you're often lucky because other destroyers don't know that yet. So somebody in, like, say, a Shima sees one of these things saying, oh, damn it, American destroyer, I'm gonna run for it because I can't win a gunfight with these things. Well, you probably could. So I have set her up for torpedo and stealth, which means if we're looking at the elite bonus, you got a choice between firing range and advanced torpedo. I have gone with the advanced torpedo, which gives us better flooding chance and better damage. I have built the modules for main battery reload. You could maybe go with the main battery mod 1, but I think they're quick enough. I have the propulsion mod in 2, just to give me more control over the rudder. And I actually have the concealment system in the 3rd slot. So I used to go with speed, which gets her up to 38 oddish knots, 39 something. But in the end, it turned out, for me at least, that the concealment works a lot better because I can get closer and these torpedoes are slow. So to me, this is a torpedo boat. With this, and I've put the seaborne assault Camo on, we get the detection range down to 5.4 kilometers, which is pretty decent. And you can often outspot even Japanese destroyers in this thing. Depends how they're set up. So the commander that's in here, I have put a 10 level commander in. No surprises in the first 2 slots. We do get the preheating. I put Victorious Charge, actually have Daredevil. You could do Survivalist as well, but destroyers don't have that much health to begin with, so it doesn't restore a huge amount of actual hit points. Exploit Weakness, because you want to set fires and floodings if you can. They're fully prepared, because there was nothing else that makes sense. You do want the Mistweaver, because she does get a smoke screen. We'll look at that in a sec. And she gets the engine accelerator, so you want that as well. And then Honor Seeker over here. You may take the IFHE, I'd say, because I have actually noticed that the high explosive have a pretty high arc, and they can do fairly decent superstructure penetrations, and you're mostly going to be firing high explosive at things that you've previously torpedoed or just trying to set fires from long range. And then obviously Giant Hunter for the last one. Yeah, in terms of ship skills, she does get 4 engine accelerator skills and 3 smokes. Now, tier 10 is chock full of things that have radars and sonars. So it's not so much a question of get in close, smoke up, and then just unload at other ships. You have to really watch out for cruisers, for Pan-Asian destroyers, for all kinds of things that have radars and hydros at the time, and time it correctly to make use out of it. But it is a smoke generator too, so it's a fairly long running smoke. The last thing we can check is the historical Camo. I've sailed without as usual, because if you get the ship out of the crate, that Camo doesn't come with it. So I want you to see what it can do if the Camo is not there. The Camo would give you better firing range, main battery range, better torpedo range, better traverse speed, which is definitely good, and better surface detection, which is what you're really after. So probably not a must-have. I find that I can get a couple of hits points and the surface detection out of the silver Camo. So that's not a bad thing to be starting with. All right, let's get into a battle. Let's get into a couple of battles, and I'll kind of try to show where the ship shines and where she actually will struggle. In our first battle, we are top tier. Well, you're tier 10, you're always top tier. And we only have a Worcester really to worry about. You and maybe the Yu Yang. Shima and Fletcher, obviously. Nothing you want to get into a gunfight with. But we do have a Republic on the enemy team, a Yama, an Iowa. And we'll see how this turns out. We do have a Benham on our team, so lots of sea mines coming in. We're playing Hourglass, no carrier, so we're on spotting duty. Now, Hourglass can be difficult. I am somewhat relying on my stealth here to be able to outspot most of the things. But if I'm unfortunate, I'll run straight into the cruiser. But I do need to spot and see what's over there, because no one else is going to do it. And I am again in a stealth build, so I should be able to outspot the other destroyers at least by a little bit. So we're going to move forward with the engine boost. You do 42 knots, which is not great. But again, you do have the smokes, and you can, you can make use of them. Okay, so that gap over there, there's Shima. So we're definitely outspotting Shima, but not by much because it's a Shima. So I'm gonna have to turn. I'm firing up at the Shima. Just drop some torpedoes in case he decides to go this way. And I need to back off because the Shima's probably got torps away. Yes, Shima. There come the Shima torps. I'm gonna have to smoke up here because I thought I've seen the cruiser there. Unfortunately, taking one here, but just pushing the Shima away. And yeah, the cruiser is right behind that. It's right behind that corner. I should be outside radar range because my guns have about an 8-kilometer range, and he's right at the edge. Nope, I'm not out of radar range. Okay, I'm radared. So Worcester is after me, which means panic, run. I'm radared anyway, and of course he shoots my rudder off. Oh well, that's great. Okay, stop firing, and well, now I'm in a turn. Okay, stop firing. So I need to go stealth because at least I'm in a full turn, so he can't see me. So he's blind firing at this point. All these shots are missing. And I'm just gonna try and stop the ship from getting any closer to the Worcester. Oh well, that did not work as well as I wanted it to. But at least we've early spotted the other two destroyers and we've pushed them back. Because we do have one cruiser which is going completely sideways, and we've got one battleship and the other cruisers on the other flank, so it would have been straight sailing to the Cap. Anyway, I have to wait now until my rudder is fixed. And I think it's almost there. Just turning in circles. Okay, there we go. Alright then, I'm back. What's it looking like? Okay, no one's lost anything. I've lost about half my health. And there's the Yu Yang again. Okay, I'm never going to torpedo that guy. I'm just using the torpedoes in general to kind of push these away, but I'll smoke up again. Hopefully I'm out of radar range and back to the guns. There's Yama. There's the Worcester. So I'm going to drop some torpedoes just in case anybody's going down that way. Yu Yang smokes up. He should be right there-ish. Yep, there, right there. That's where he is. Okay, if he's smart, he's moving in his smoke. So second salvo. No more hits. Okay, he's moving in his smoke. So then, well, not really anything else to shoot at. There's Republic. Republic might take a couple of my torps, so I'm switching to the high explosive in case he floods. Yes, he floods. That wasn't even me, was it? Is it a perma-flood? Might be. So let's see if we can actually set him on fire. No, he damage contra flood. He was just waiting for my torps to hit. Okay. Oh, there's the Worcester again. Damn it. These things are no fun whatsoever. Okay. They have killed our Benham, so I was just probably going to run at this point. Benham's dropped a bunch of torps, but I'd be surprised if that actually hits anything. So I'm going to just drop some torps in a general direction, and then I'm going to stop shooting, and I'm going to motor out of here. Because while I can probably win a gunfight with a Yu Yang, I cannot win one with a Worcester. So I do need to run, wiggle the ship, and see that I can get out of there. Okay, Yu Yang actually takes a torp. So now I can actually kill him. Nope, the rune takes him. Alright, good. Dead Yu Yang is good. Which leaves the enemy's right flank wide open. So I can heal up a little bit, stop shooting again, and see if I can loop around here. I don't know what our battleship is doing there on the western flank, all by itself against two destroyers. I have no idea whatsoever. There was a cruiser earlier, but that seems to have been sunk. So we're doing the piecemeal strategy. Okay. Republic, I should be able to sink even with these relatively low power torpedoes. Okay, he's accelerating, so got a bunch of torps ahead and one kind of at line just in case he is turning or slowing down. And I'm just edging out of the detection range. I get my guns back out, high explosive, just in case I need to shoot him, but I want to wait first for the torpedoes in order to give myself away. There's no reason to smoke up. I can just keep him right out of my detection range. Oh, he's turning. Okay, I'm probably going to get close, but at this point he can't dodge the torps anymore, so I'm just going to wait. Doink, doink, doink. Okay, and one salvo out, and that should be the end of it. Yep, okay, so Republic dead. We're still a ship behind, because unsurprisingly, we've lost our battleship there on the western flank. And we've lost the Benham earlier, because he YOLO'd into that. And the rest of my team is firmly defensive. So I'm going to head for the cap. 1 minute 30 is not going to be long enough to cap. But we're going to have to sink something. But maybe I have 1 smoke left. And maybe I can get these 2 battleships to turn around. I don't know where the Worcester ended up. Oh, he's over there, by the looks of it. Okay, I'm going to have to make my presence known. Hope that these guys can kill the destroyer over there. And hope that I can pull these battleships back. Alright, what's that? Iowa. I definitely can't sink the Iowa. And I don't think I can sink the Yama either with my torps at this time. Because they have too much health. So I'm just going to start shooting. Open up the smoke and say, put a big fat sign out. And say, hey, there's a destroyer in your cap. Come back, do something about it. Of course, with 48 seconds left, these are just kind of like Hail Mary torps. There's really no... there's really not much these are going to do, but maybe I can pull 1 back, so if they can kill these 2 destroyers, we're a ship ahead. So that would be something. And I'm doing my level best to distract these guys over here, but it doesn't look like they're falling for it. They are literally just sailing away. Okay, we're 10 points behind. I've got 20 seconds, and I'm going to stop their ticks. I don't think we're going to... Oh, no, we lost the Monty. Okay, that's it. If he had survived against Fletcher, we might have been able to... No, we just got about 10 seconds. So that's like 9 points or so. No, wouldn't have been enough even with that. Oh, I'm detected. Yeah, Worcester came back. What is it with upper tier cruiser players doing the right thing all the time? It's very frustrating when you're in a destroyer. But we have done our level best. And yeah, you really do want to play this ship on stealth most of the time. And use the relatively quick torpedo reload to spam torpedoes at unsuspecting battleships and to find gaps and things like that. But yeah, not too much we could do about this one. So let's go again. In the second battle, we are up against Yama, Double Monty, Ibuki, and Triple Shima. When we're playing on Typhoon Eye. I'm actually not sure that I've played this map before. Maybe once or twice. But definitely can't remember this one. We're playing Domination, so multi-cap. And we have another Somers on our team. Okay, so Somers team it is. Alright, yeah, I definitely haven't played this map before. Okay, so let's see, what do we got? 4 caps, C's are natural. And we'll see who comes with us here. Definitely going to head out towards C for starters. Engine boost up. We've got the other Somas in here and a Yama. So let's see how much support we're going to get. We will be heading towards that little island there. One thing with the 3 torpedo launchers on the Somers is that you can actually, well, oftentimes just use 2 of them and keep 1 in reserve. So that is not necessarily about strategy, because it can sometimes surprise other players who think that you're out of torpedoes because they've seen your torps, and then you've got 1 spread left. Okay, definitely destroyer, so we have at least 1 Shima in D, and we are just going to head towards that island there and then try to defend on that direction. We've got our Somas coming with us, and that Yama seems to be standing back, so not sure how much fire support we're going to get from there. The rest of our team is concentrating around A. Okay, there's the Ibuki. Of course, my luck, the only cruiser in the enemy team, and I'm landing right here. He hasn't seen me yet, so he doesn't know that I'm here. Oops, but there's Shima. Okay, so I do have to stop, and Shima's got almost certainly torpedoes away. Yep, there they come, Shima torps. And this is a smart player. I mean, look at this. He didn't drop me along the line. He dropped me in the direction of thinking that or predicting that I would go back behind the island. So I have to watch out with this Shima player. He knows what he's doing. Okay, there's Ibuki. Now, Yama is shooting at Ibuki, which is the right thing to do. I'm keeping him spotted. But let's see if he's actually going to plan to come around the island. I mean, I'm detected, so he knows that I'm here. So I'm just gonna tuck in behind the island and use my torpedo indicator to see which way he's going. Are you going this way? Are you going to come around? Doesn't look like. No, he's not coming around. Because he knows that I'm here, right? He has paid attention. So he's going the other way. Are you going to go? Okay, there comes some Ibuki torps, just in case I was going to plan to come out and rush him. So you're coming out this way. Okay, I'm going to drop some torpedoes here. And just in case. Now, I probably should have kept one in reserve, because now he should know that I'm out of torpedoes, but he's still deciding that no, he doesn't want to poke around the island, so I'm just going to stay here and defend. I know that there's a Shima and an Ibuki over there, and it looks like the rest of my team decides that they don't want to be at this flank, so I'm all alone by myself here. But someone's still shooting at the Ibuki, took out one of his torp tubes, that's good. Good news for me. And there's the Shima. Is he deciding that he wants to push? Anyway, I'm going to smoke up. Yep, there comes some predictive Shima torps, just in case I was going to come around the corner. And no, I did not. Oh, this might have been the other spread from the Ibuki. Yeah, there are 4 of them. Okay, so I'm still expecting Shima torps, which is why I'm not staying in my smoke screen. Shima smokes up. So just in case he stays in the vicinity, I'm going to drop some torps on him, but I'm going to keep one launcher in reserve. Oh, Ibuki, these were not actually meant for you. You might run it well into these. So Ibuki sees my torps, opens fire at me, obviously, and probably thinks at this point that I'm out of torpedoes. So here comes the 3rd spread. Now, against Ibuki, I need to use the high explosive. The Shima has buggered off. And I'm still taking fire from all corners, but Ibuki's going to take 4 of my torps. Now, if these had been Japanese torps, he'd be dead. And there comes Shima, and Shima opens up with the guns, which is the exact right thing to do, because I am currently under fire from an Ibuki, so he's very safe to, give fire support and shoot at me. And since so far I've managed not to run into his torpedoes. Okay, now Ibuki is behind the island, so I'm going to get into a gunfight with the Shima. But the Ibuki is coming around, so I do have to smoke up again and try to kill Ibuki first before dealing with Shima. Now, Shima's obviously going for our battleship. That might be the Yamato. But he might have torpedoes away, so I'm going... Yeah, there they come. You see? Told you it's a smart player. Okay, I should be able to dodge these. Okay, turn. No. Oh, this thing doesn't turn as well as it should. Okay, that was unnecessary. He dropped 2 on the Yamato and 1 on me. Again, having the same thought process that I've got here. So Yama runs into all these torps, but it wasn't enough to kill the Yama. And I got very lucky here. So, but if I had stayed broadside on in my smoke, I would have been dead right there. So, but we have rolled up the enemy team pretty nicely. So I'm just going to go back here. I'm on 1700 health. So I'm going to drop some torps in that direction in case Shima comes back. But I'm going to keep 1 in reserve again, just in case I need them. And I'm going to get my cup back. Okay, no, the Shima is dead. But very well played. That was some good thinking there and some good predictions. Okay, there's Monty. What are you doing, Monty? Monty slow down or Monty speed up? I think Monty is slowing down. So no, is he speeding up again? I'm just going to smoke up and get the cab, drop 1 down here, and then start to try and set him on fire. All right. But you can defend, and again, having 3 torpedo spreads is actually quite nice and gives you some strategic options over the 2 spreads that you get on say gearing, because you have more choices. Okay, I'm gonna drop the Montana behind. He's probably gonna stop. He run into 2 torpedoes. Unless if he goes into a full reverse, then I'm not sure. Oh, these are slow torps. I think he's going in the reverse. Yeah, I should have let these more back, because these are very slow torps, so they're not going to reach him in time, and he's going in full reverse. So I'm just going to start unloading some shells. I mean, we've won at this point, but you do want to stay at maximum range with the guns with this thing. So just, to be able to dodge. It's taking a couple of hits, but they're firing armor piercing at me, so there's really no point. He's probably going to dead before my torpedoes reach. But we've still done a very reasonable amount of damage, all in all. And our team has pretty much ruffle stomped. And I think the other Somas is taking him out right there, so he's dead. That just leaves 1 of the Shimas, and we only lost 1 destroyer so far. So that was fun. That was engaging. But again, this is not a gunboat. If you are up against, even if you're up against a Shimakaze, you will struggle to win that gunfight as decisively as you would say in a tech tree American destroyer. Anything else, you're going up, you're probably going to lose the gunfight. So stick to the torps. Okay, Republic takes out the Shima, and that's that. So the Somers is okay. The other Somers has taken the win. Somers for the win. Let's see where we ended up in the team. But yeah, is it an extremely strong destroyer? Not necessarily. I don't think it's overpowered in any way. Yeah, well done, team. And it's not a bad ship, right? But I would personally probably not go for her because it is a tier 10, and I could, you know, if I stick with in Benham, I get into tier 8 games. With this thing, the best I can hope for is to be top tier. So if I had the choice between that and the gearing, and again, mind you, I haven't actually played the gearing, I would probably like to have something that has more firepower on the guns, because in destroyer knife fights with torpedoes this slow, she is definitely at a disadvantage, and you'll be struggling to hit destroyers unless they're running straight ahead into your torps. So that's the Somers for you. So if you see one on the enemy team, or if you got one by yourself, now you know what I'm thinking. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.